September 7th, 1940. Just before dawn, somewhere along the windswept coast of Kent, England. The salty sea air hangs heavy with tension, mingling with the distant echoes of restless waves crashing against chalky cliffs. On the horizon, a faint pink glow threatens to spill over the grey morning sky. But here, at the isolated radar station, the world holds its breath. Inside a dimly lit operations room, Royal Air Force officers huddle over flickering screens and humming dials. The air hums with static and anticipation. You can almost feel the cold bite of early autumn as Flight Lieutenant Peter Drummond's eyes burn into the glowing cathode ray tube. His fingers tighten on the communication mic, a bead of sweat tracing his temple despite the chill. Around him, the chain home radar station awakens to life, its towering transmitter masts pulsing faintly, eyes searching the sky like metal sentinels. Suddenly, a blip appears, small, distant, but unmistakable. Another follows, and more. The radar operators lean closer, some whispering in disbelief. They are tracking hundreds of incoming blips, the unmistakable signature of Luftwaffe bomber squadrons headed straight for England. Hours away. For British commanders who had long feared a German invasion, this moment offered something they had never dared to expect: a warning. Not vague rumors or spotty signal reports, but a scientific miracle delivering precious time. Time to prepare, to scramble fighters, to defend the skies above London. But did they realize just how fragile this hope was? How much the fate of a nation would soon hinge on the glow of green lights and the crackle of radio transmissions? The Battle of Britain was about to begin. As the first pale light of dawn spreads across the English countryside, deep beneath the rustling forests and sprawling fields lie more chain home stations, each linked by a delicate web of cables and radio waves. Unlike anything the world has seen, these towering giants of metal and wire form an invisible shield, a network designed to pierce the morning haze, scanning hundreds of miles beyond the coastline. Wing Commander Robert Banks stands at the nerve center of Fighter Command in London, his eyes trained on the plotting tables that come alive with shifting arrows and dots. Reports flood in from radar operators, precise locations, altitudes and speeds of approaching Luftwaffe formations. There is a resolve in Banks's voice as he barks orders with a calm urgency. Scramble Spitfires and Hurricanes. Intercept at 20 miles out. Do not let them reach London. In the tense silence that follows, you can hear the distant roar of Merlin engines igniting, the metallic snap of cockpit canopies locking, and pilots' steady breaths filling the cramped spaces. Above the fields and villages, RAF fighters begin to climb, slicing through clouds tinged with rising light. Below, air raid sirens lie dormant. For now. But the German commanders hundreds of miles away do not know their advantage is slipping away like sand through their fingers. The technology they mocked in British newspapers, the radio eyes, has become their greatest threat. A step ahead, Britain prepares not just to fight, but to win, snatching victory from the jaws of annihilation. What none had foreseen yet was how this invisible shield would transform desperation into determination, and how radar would turn the tide of one of history's most desperate battles. By mid-morning, the radar blitz have morphed into a clear and terrifying picture. Over the English Channel, hundreds of Luftwaffe bombers, escorted by waves of sleek Messerschmitt Bf 119 fighters, advance steadily towards their targets: airfields, radar stations, and London itself. At Fighter Command headquarters, tension simmers beneath a thin veneer of control. Squadron leader James Holloway, a seasoned pilot, watches the plotting table with narrowed eyes. His jaw tightens as he recalls the skeptics who once dismissed radar as unreliable wizardry. They laughed at it in Berlin, he mutters. Now it's our lifeline. Yet, despite the early warning, there is no room for complacency. Communication lines crackle with frantic reports. Some radars falter, cloud cover plays tricks, and German fighters employ jamming tactics to blind the system. The Allies' air defenses are on a knife's edge. In the skies above, Holloway leads his squadron into the growing storm of smoke and steel. Enemy fighters dive and twist with lethal agility, sunlight glinting off wings marked with iron crosses. Below, towns brace for the bombs yet to fall. You can almost taste the adrenaline, feel the pounding heartbeats as pilots fight not just the enemy, but their own doubts. Could this unseen technology, this fragile network of glowing screens in radio waves, hold long enough to turn the tide of history? Or would the Luftwaffe break through and silence the radar's warning forever?
As London's restless citizens brace for the chaos, the RAF pilots clash headlong with the invading Luftwaffe in a furious ballet of speed, skill, and survival. Squadron leader Holloway's voice crackles over the radio. "Bandits at 12 o'clock, diving fast. Hold tight." The sky ignites with tracer rounds, and the thunderous roar of engines push to their limits. Below, chain home stations continue their relentless vigil, feeding real-time updates that keep Fighter Command one step ahead. The radar sets, vulnerable and exposed on lonely cliffs, face their own battle against weather, interference, and the looming threat of German sabotage missions. In this crucible, the true power of radar emerges. Pilots like Holloway maneuver not by guess or gut, but on precise cues from unseen allies miles away. The technology transforms confusion into coordination, chaos into calculated strikes. At the same time, German commanders grow increasingly frustrated. Their bombing runs, once confident and devastating, falter under this new detection system. They realize too late that their surprise has been stolen. The advantage they counted on, the cover of night and cloud, is slipping away. Back at Fighter Command, Wing Commander Banks watches the unfolding dogfight with a grim sense of hope. Radar's early warnings have bought precious hours, but the battle is far from over. The sky above Britain has become a crucible where technology, courage, and sheer will collide. With every successful interception, Britain's spirit hardens. Would this invisible shield hold firm? Or would the Luftwaffe find a way through the cracks in Britain's new eyes? As the afternoon haze thickens into smoke and dust from exploding bombs, the chain-home radar stations become silent guardians under constant threat. Their towering masts, silhouetted against the darkening sky, attract the wary eyes of German reconnaissance planes and low-flying bombers eager to disable the stations feeding the UK's defenses. On the ground, radar operators and technicians scramble under air raid alarms, racing to protect delicate equipment from destruction. Sergeant Edith Watson, one of the few women operating radar controls, moves with calm efficiency, repairing wiring as bombs fall nearby. Her hands shake only slightly as she patches damaged circuits. It's their job to keep the lines open, no matter the cost. Behind the scenes, the importance of these stations becomes painfully clear. Without them, pilots lose their edge, rescue operations falter, and London's skies become a blind arena where fate hangs by a thread. Meanwhile, Luftwaffe strategists debate new tactics to silence the threat. Would a direct assault overwhelm the chain-home network, or would the British adapt too quickly? You can almost hear the ticking clock as both sides race toward a terrifying crescendo, the moment when radar might either save Britain or break beneath relentless fire. Will the ingenuity and bravery of this hidden front line turn the tide, or will the Luftwaffe's fury shatter Britain's last line of defense? As evening descends, the battered radar stations hum steadily, their operators drained but resolute. Against all odds, Chain-Home has withstood the assault and continued to guide fighter squadrons with relentless precision. The battle for Britain's skies is far from over, but radar has proven itself a silent hero, an unseen guardian tipping the balance toward survival. Wing Commander Banks surveys the war room, voices crackling over the radios, confirming successful interceptions and minimal losses. Pilots who would have been caught unawares are streaking back with holes in their planes but fire in their eyes. The invisible shield remains intact. The British public, though scarred by nights of terror, awakened to a new hope born not just from courage but from technology, a promise that science could match and even outpace destruction. And as historians would later note, the chain-home radar system was not just a tool but a turning point, an innovation that helped Britain stand firm against the darkness. Through it all, the men and women who operated those blinking lights never sought the limelight. Yet without their eyes on the horizon, the Battle of Britain and possibly the entire war might have unfolded very differently. The radar's cold green glow wasn't just a warning. It was the spark of defiance that kept a nation fighting, a beacon that lit the way through the storm.